It's Jason Roberts, the supervisor. Mr. Harding said you're going to assess the lumber inventory here at Trust Right. So before you do that, I thought I'd take you out to the lumber yard to let you see where we keep it all, talk to the supervisor and ask him some questions to give you an idea of what our process is for keeping track of lumber.
So out here in the lumber yard, can you just describe a little bit about what it's like to keep track of lumber inventory?
Sure. Well, as you see, we have, quite an inventory at the moment. What we do is, if we need to use a cord of lumber, if we need to put it on the line or bring it up to the saw shop itself, there in the corners there's a label with a barcode. There's two of them actually. What we do is just take one of those, not both, but one, and we put it in the mailbox over there. That's where the manager will come, pick it up, go to the office, actually put it into the spreadsheets, and that will determine ordering of what we have, what's on inventory, and what we can use.
Okay, very good. Do you feel like there's a big problem with keeping track of the inventory throughout the year?
I wouldn't say it's huge, but yes, there are challenges with that. Sometimes, like I said, there's two labels. Sometimes people will throw them both in there. It is easy to overlook the numbers. There's quite a series of numbers on there. And, it could be off by one, but then you're ordering, two versus when you only needed one. Sometimes, actually quite often, it doesn't get put in the mailbox, or it'll be stripped out in the yard itself. So there's a cord sitting there, but there's no label. So when we're using it, we're not taking into account that we are using it.
Sure. Do you find that there's lumber that kind of sits here for months throughout the year and goes unused?
We do run across it every now and again. What we try to do always is, of course, have enough inventory that if we do receive a large job, that we can, of course, provide that, relatively, soon. But if we do not rotate, that does come to an issue where it has been sitting. As you can see, some of the tarps do come off. I mean, there's wind, the weather gets in there, bugs, critters. It does happen. We do have a couple out there I know that are older by years, that it was not rotated, it was stuck behind something else. It honestly just got overlooked. It does happen. There are multiple shifts here, so sometimes communication isn't relayed to both shifts, so sometimes one idea is happening and then the other, and then okay, now the cord's completely gone, somebody forgot about it, it got moved. So some of the larger stuff does happen to sit around a little bit. We do have ag jobs, of course, but it's kind of seasonal, so it's this time of year that stuff gets used. But we ordered it in spring, so it's been sitting around for a little bit.
And does this happen where stuff will sit throughout the winter and then never get used until the next summer?
That's a great comment there too. Yes, that does actually happen, because we try to stock up, of course, for the winter. So, I mean, sometimes trucks can't run. We have jobs that need to be done, so we try to, as you can see in the back there, we've got 4 rows now of certain products. So, chances are, yeah, a couple of those will be sitting there, till next spring, and then, you deal with the whole weather thing again. If the winter's bad, we get some winds, tarps are going to come off, snow sitting on them. The weathering, of course, happens. Then, the mold can happen, the board's can warp, unfortunately. So then we try to use it as best we can.
And then do you have to get rid of a lot of boards then and just scrap them out?
We don't scrap out per se. We do, of course, tend to cut down on them. We will change sizes. If we have 20 footers that are warping, we may turn them into 10s, so that twist isn't quite as significant, and then we can use them for other projects. Some of the other ones we can bring into the saws, the individual saws itself, instead of the big guys, and we can cut them down to make smaller ones that are more usable for little projects. We try to stay around the same size, but I mean, if we got big stuff that's going bad, we will use it for smaller projects.
Sure. Now, what do you mean by rotating the lumber? Kind of describe how you stock
Well,
the lumber.
rotating the lumber, as you can see, we have our front piles over there. Then we have, of course, our backs right next to it. We also have that over there as well. So, I mean, we got right there, well, on the end there's 12 footers. And, of course, we have 4 high right behind it. We also have a whole stack over there. So we'll try to, of course, instead of just refilling the top right away, so if we take the top off, we'll go down the line instead of just, okay, now we bring somebody over, well, that bottom one's never going to get used then. So we try to, of course, keep that in context, because that's closest to the ground. It is getting the most weather of anybody. Well, as you can see, we do run out of lumber every now and again. I mean, for example, these guys right here, yes, it is sitting right there behind it, but the communication, like I was talking about, it has not been brought down yet. Now that could be a couple of things. One, maybe the forklifts are busy, or it wasn't related to second shift. We just came in the morning, so you know we're still up and going right at the moment. So this is not a priority at the moment, but I mean at some point we're going to need this stuff. This is a higher grade right now, so it's probably not as pertinent to the lines at the moment. But I mean still you can see that there are holes here. And if you look down the line, we got some, you know, empty spots down there as well, and some low stuff, and then we got some random ones sitting there. That's just someone didn't pick it up. So that does need to go back at some point in time, and that's not a high priority, but the lines are always the priority first. But that is something that will need to be taken care of some point throughout the day.